everyone, this is Jess from Quilt Beginnings, and I am so excited to be teaching another digital dealer exclusive project from Kimberbell for the month of February. We are on month 2, and I am so in love with this project. This is the Trapunto, tomato, potato, however you want to say it. I'm going to say Trapunto. Pineapple zipper pouch, and it is so darling. I don't know if you can tell from here, but this has such great texture from the velveteen, but also we are going to be using some flexi foam, and I use some variegated thread as well, which is super fun. And I'm going to take you step by step through this entire project, give you some tips and tricks, and have this be a successful experience. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what items we need for this project. So in your kit, you received the mustard yellow velveteen pouch, which is open. It does have the lining and the zipper already installed, which is awesome. So you have one of those. You should have 2 flexi foam pieces. You will also need a hoop with heavy cutaway stabilizer. And you can do this in a 5x7 or a 6x10 hoop. You will do the 5x7 with the smaller pouch, and then the 6x10 with the larger pouch, which I'm going to be showing today. Also, it's handy to have some pins, obviously our Kimberbell tape, and some awesome scissors. I have mine from Quilt Beginnings here. So those are the things that you need. You do need some thread, and oh, before I forget, you do need a water-soluble pen. This will help us mark our zipper pouch to be ready to be put into the hoop. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have my instructions printed out right here, and the thing I love about them is that they are all fully in color print, and I mean there's pictures for everything, so I am not going to mess up if I follow the instructions, right? And once again, it has right here what materials we need, all of that. So if you go to page 3, I just wanted to quickly do an overview of this. This is the instruction key of how to read Kimberbell patterns. So you can see all the different icons and what they mean. So take a few minutes and familiarize yourself with it, and it'll make every Kimberbell project you do so much easier, and you'll understand the lingo. All right. So this is a 3-part project right here. So part 1 is preparing and marking the zipper pouch. Part 2 is embroidering both sides of the zipper pouch. And then part 3 is finishing the zipper pouch by sewing up the sides. Okay. So obviously we are going to start with part 1, preparing and marking the zipper pouch. So I'm going to move some of these things out of the way just so I have plenty of room. Move these. And all I need right now are my pins and my water-soluble pen. Okay. So we're just going to go right through this. I am on instruction step 1 of part 1, and it tells us that we need to open up our zipper pouch. So we've got our lining and our velveteen, our lining and our velveteen. So we have it open like that, and it wants us to have the zipper pull at the top. Okay. Now we are going to need to measure 1 inch, and you can kind of eyeball it, but I'm going to measure 1 inch over from the center of the zipper teeth. Okay, the zipper teeth, not like the edge of the zipper, but the zipper teeth. Okay, so we're going to measure 1 inch away from it on both sides, and we're going to mark it with a pin. Okay. So I'm just going to do this here. I'll move this this way. All right, and my 1-inch mark is about right here. So I'm just going to place a pin in there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And remember, it's from the zipper teeth. And it doesn't have to be exact. All right. And it wants us to do it on the bottom of the pouch as well. All right, so like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can eyeball it, or you can even pull out your ruler and measure it, okay? So now we are on step 3. So it wants us to flip the pouch right side down. So I'm just going to take it from right to left, flip it all the way over. And what it wants us to do is, which I didn't do right here, I was only supposed to pin the velveteen, okay? So this is a good place to make note that we're only pinning the velveteen, not the lining. And you'll see why in just a minute, okay? All right, so I undid that. And we are going to roll the lining pieces to the center. So you see why we didn't want to pin the lining at the beginning with the velveteen? It's because we are going to roll this all the way in, okay? And I'm just going to place a pin to hold it in place, because it's going to stay here for the remainder of the time until we are on part 3, okay? So again, I'm going to roll this in. And if you didn't want a pin, you could always use those Wonder Clips. I use those a lot. But pinning is just as effective. All right. So now your project should look somewhat like this, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and grab our water-soluble pen and a ruler. And we are going to mark on the wrong side of the zipper pouch, following the pins that we just previously put in. We're going to draw a line all the way down. Okay. You can kind of see it on camera, but it's definitely there. And I'm just going to flip this the other way. Once again, line it up where my pins are and draw a line all the way down. Okay. Don't forget to pull out the pins from the velveteen. All right. Okay. So we have those marked. We also need to write on here, and also, let me flip this around, make sure the zipper pull is at the top. Okay, I turned it around so I could mark because I am right-handed. I couldn't do it the other way. So make sure that your zipper pull is at the top, and we are going to write on the right-hand side A. Okay, and then on the left, we're going to write B. Right? A and B. Okay. We are now going to fold the pouch in half widthwise, right sides together. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over, but then fold it in half just like this. And you want to line up these pieces. You're not lining up your zipper pulls, your zipper pull in the teeth. Okay, you're gonna line it up according to the pouch. Okay, and it's okay if it's not perfectly square. It is all good. And it wants us to finger press well. Okay. You could take an iron to this if you would like. I sometimes find with the velveteen when I iron it, it's kind of hard to put it back to its original position of being flat. So if you can work your magic, please share of how to make that flat again. But this is why we just finger press, okay? All right, and we're going to, after you finger press, we're going to once again open it up. All right, zipper pull at the top. And on the wrong side, once again, we are going to line up our ruler against that that crease that we just made, okay? And we're going to draw a line down the middle, okay? We'll do that on both sides. All right. So now I have prepped both the right and the left side, so it's going to be so easy to center the project in the hoop. Okay, and that's all we have to do for part one. So pat yourself on the back, you prepped it, you're ready to go, and let's finally get to sewing this super fun pineapple pouch. Okay, so for this video, I am doing the 6x10 version, but you can also do this in a 5x7 hoop. I have hooped my heavy cutaway stabilizer, and we are going to take this over to the machine and stitch out our placement line for the flexi foam, which will give us our Trapunto effect. Okay, so let's go over there and we're going to go ahead and stitch that placement line. All right, so let's just go ahead and stitch out the first step, which is just a placement line for your flexi foam. And you will stitch this directly on your stabilizer. So go ahead and just press start. All right, so we're now going to take our flexi foam and place it right on top of our stabilizer, and we want to make sure this is completely covering our placement line that we just previously stitched. Okay, so you can kind of hold it in place. You're welcome to tape it if you'd like, but it is now going to stitch the little the body of the pineapple, I should say, okay? And we'll just let that run. All right, so that has finished stitching out. It's going to look something like this. Just trust the process. I promise it'll look so much cuter. And so now what we're going to do is trim all the excess away and get ready to put our zipper pouch on. All right, so let's go over to our workspace and trim this all up. All right, so if you got through cutting all of this, pat yourself on the back because that was quite the feat right there. So we are now all trimmed up, which is super nice. And we are on step 7, all right? And it wants us to stitch the pouch placement line with the center notch. So this is going to help us center our zipper pouch. And so let's go ahead and just start stitching that out right on the stabilizer. All right, so that just got finished. So let's go ahead and go over to our workstation to center the zipper pouch. All right, so we are on instruction step 8, and it wants us to move our lining pieces about 2 inches away. You don't need to measure this, but just to get these out of the way, and the bulk, we don't want it to be on the zipper right here, okay? So I'm just going to pin this in place again. Once again, we are doing side A first. All right, I'll put these there, okay? Now we are going to place our center mark right on there where we just previously stitched. Here, I'll draw on this for you. Hopefully you can see my little center mark there. Okay. So I have my thread white, but that is exactly where we are going to place this center mark onto. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place, I'm going to fold this in half actually so then I can exactly see where I'm at. And I'm lining up that center fold with this center line right here, and then the vertical line on that line as well. Okay, and I am going to tape this in place. Now don't be too stingy with the tape. Just use a good amount so this thing does not move. It's the last thing you want. Okay. I'm actually going to tape in 2 more places, I want to make sure this is held really well. All right, and what I'm going to do is I like to fold this up a little bit so it doesn't get in the way of the arm of my embroidery machine. And I'm just going to pin that as well. Doesn't say it in the instructions, but I am not going to take any risks. All right, so now it wants us to go back to the machine. We've got this all ready to stitch on, and it's going to do a tack down line just to hold it in place, which will be removed after, okay? And then we are going to stitch the Trapunto pineapple design, which I'm so excited to see. And yes, we are going to use some variegated thread. This is your time to put your own little spin on it. You can do whatever color of thread you want to do, but we're going to do variegated and see how it turns out. All right, so let's go over to the machine and start stitching on this zipper pouch. Once again, we are just doing the tack down line like a basting stitch around the pouch. And it can be any color because you are going to be taking this out at the end. Okay, so now it's time to change to your favorite color of thread, a variegated thread, whatever color you want to do. It is now your time to be creative. So I'm going to get my variegated thread out. All right, and if you would like to, which I think I'm going to do, I'm actually going to move that paper tape out of the way because I already have a basting stitch down. So I'm going to remove some of this tape so then it doesn't get caught in my quilting and make more of a mess for me. It'll tear away really easily if you decide to keep it in, but I'm just going to save myself a step. All right, so let's go ahead. This is the final embroidery step of this zipper pouch, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. All right, so we have now finished the embroidery part of our zipper pouch, and I am so excited with how it turned out. With the variegated thread, oh, you'll have to come into the shop and see it if you can. That definitely doesn't look like what it looks like right now. It is so pretty. I am so excited about it. But so now you're gonna do the exact same thing, everything that we've done, but now we're going to do it on part B, the B side, all right? So go ahead and do everything. You can go back and rewatch this video for the first part with part A, and now you're gonna do it for part B. Okay, so we now have our zipper pouch all quilted. We've got that Trapunto look, and it is just so cute. So now we are on part 3 of sewing this all up and finishing it, and I am so, so excited. So make sure to take out the pins that were in the lining. So there should be no more pins for right now. Okay, And what it wants us to do is have the zipper pull at the top, and it wants us to open up our zipper about 3/4 of the way. Okay, so I'm gonna, right there, that's good. Now we are going to match up our velveteen together. And notice it says match up the corners, meaning the corners of where that basting stitch was, not necessarily the corner of your zipper pouch, okay? So we're doing the corners of where it just did that basting stitch, okay? So I'm gonna line that up as best as I can, okay? And we're going to pin in place. Okay. Now we are going to align the front and the back lining pieces together. So we'll do that right here. And pin in place. All right. Okay, so we are on step number 4, and using a ruler, it says extend the pouch tack down lines from the velveteen, shown in red in the picture, across the width of the lining fabric. So what that means is this line right here of where we stitched, that creates our little box, we're going to line up our ruler right along that edge. Gonna take our water-soluble pen and draw a line on the lining piece all the way across. Okay? We're gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. This is gonna help us get our pouch to be really square, so I'm excited. Okay, now the center notch, which is right here. Remember that center notch that we stitched out in order to center our project in the hoop? We're going to refer to this center notch now, and we're going to measure 6.5 inches from that point. So 6.5 is right here. Okay, and we're going to mark a line all the way down. Okay. So you should have the marks cross on your lining pieces, and they should match your velveteen box, okay? So now we need to move our zipper tape so the teeth are facing towards the velveteen, because if you can't tell right here, it naturally wants to go towards the lining piece, and then your zipper pouch will be inside out. You don't want that. So you're gonna have to move it and kind of manipulate it towards the velveteen. So the zipper teeth should be going this way. And you're going to pin that in place so those don't move. Okay, and I'll do that on the opposite side as well, making sure the zipper teeth are facing the velveteen. And sometimes it can get a little tricky, but just be patient. All right. Okay, so now we are gonna go to our sewing machine. We're gonna stitch directly on those lines all the way around, but we're gonna leave about a 3-inch opening in the lining so we can turn it right side out. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and stitch directly on those lines, leave a 3-inch opening, and then we'll turn this right side out and finish it up. All right, so we are going to, I'm gonna start actually just a little bit past center on the lining. I'm gonna go forward, do a little back stitch, and then keep going all the way around and end with a back stitch as well, just to reinforce that stitch so when I turn it right side out, it doesn't pop the stitches, okay? All right, so I have stitched all the way around on that line. Now I am also going to cut off the zipper ends because remember, I did pull the zipper pull about 3/4 of the way so it would get out of the way. So we're gonna trim that up, turn this right side out, and see what it all ends up looking like. Okay, and now we want to cut about a 1/4 inch away from that line to reduce the bulk. So you can just kind of eyeball this. And be sure to clip the corners as well. All right, made a little bit of a mess here. That's okay. So now I'm going to pull my zipper through the lining, my zipper pouch through the lining. And see how it comes through that zipper as well. All right. There will be an opening in the lining. You're welcome to whip stitch that. You can take it to your sewing machine, however you'd like. But you can see here, it's all done. I could go in and poke out the corners a little bit more. You might see some of your basting stitch, and that's totally fine. You can just unpick that. But you didn't have to worry about putting a zipper in, anything like that. No lining, that you had to worry about. It is all there, done for you. I absolutely love this project, and I love the texture that it gives to this zipper pouch.